Hi everyone, this is Sandy Crane the Heart, and today we are going to make 3 slimline cards out of my scraps from making this album right here. So this album is from a previous video. I showed you how to make a very simple and very sturdy album out of security policy envelopes, so the number 10 envelopes. And so I really love how this album came out. You can see it in my previous video. I'll try to remember to link to it in the description. But anyway, I had a lot of scrap from that because the pages measure like 4 by 4 and a quarter, and so you're having a lot of 2-inch and 2-inch little pieces of paper left. So I'm using the sweet strawberries. I am using some shaker bits, and I'm using the Strawberry Goodness from the Not Too Shabby Shop, as well as Sentiment from the Strawberry Goodness stamp set. And so I'm just using a Slimline card base, and then I'm just kind of piecing together pieces that I have from my scrap. And this is all going to get covered up by a lot of ephemera. I'm going to be using up some ephemera, and I'm just going to be playing with this stuff. And so you really can't, because I got a lot going on in this card, you're not going to be able to really tell that it's all pieced together unless you really look. And so it's just kind of one way that you can use scrap. I have tons of videos on my channel about how I've used my scrap up, because that is like the bane of my existence, is trying to use up my scrap, because nobody likes to have all the scrap everywhere. And I'm one of those people who wants to use up all their scrap. And so when I put this last piece up, I had, quite a bit of a top border there. So I actually took this off camera and trimmed it with my paper trimmer, because it's okay if it's a little bit shorter. And that just cleaned it up a little bit for me. So at that point, it's trimmed off, and now it's playing time. It's figuring out what I could do to make this work into a workable card, because the paper is quite busy. So this card is going to be a little bit of a busy card. But I know that I wanted to put a lot of different types of ephemera on there, so I kind of just pulled what I thought would work and just kind of played around with placement. And so just kind of playing around a little bit with the placement. And I love that cute little tree. I'm kind of figuring out, do I want that there? And I think I opted to kind of move that more towards the top and put my little girl down lower, I think is what I ended up doing. All right, so once I decide on the placement, then it's just all about putting everything down. So I do a mixture of sort of flat with glue and propping some parts of it up with foam tape. So I feel like it gives some dimension, and it helps kind of showcase certain parts of the ephemera without it kind of getting, bogged down and lost in the busy paper. So that's kind of what you're going to see me doing right now, is just deciding what pieces I'm going to go ahead and prop up and which pieces I'm going to go ahead and have flat. I think I've got the little grass mound flat, and I think also that cute little fluffy tree. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And what I found in using up scrap is that it gets easier as you do it. It gets a lot easier to fool around with the scrap. And so my favorite ways usually really involve kind of using all of the scrap, kind of like using all the strips. I have a lot of strip videos. Those are really fun. Tailored Expressions has come out with like some maps. She calls them, I forget what she calls them, but they're like these little strip maps that tell you how to cut your strips, how wide, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, so that you can use up all of those sort of strips that tend to get cut up when you're cutting up like a 6x6 paper pad, for example. So those have been really, really helpful in using up a lot of my scrap. And, you know, I do like killing paper pads because I just have so much stuff. And so it just makes it a lot easier for me if I can kill a few paper pads. I know that this year my plan, I mean, it's June. My plan is that I'm going to give like cards as gifts. So I'm going to do a lot of like cards with envelopes and things like that as gifts because I have so many cards, and I think they would make great gifts because cards are expensive. And making these cards is kind of expensive too. Okay, so I debated whether I was going to put a sentiment on there on the front, and I believe, opted not to. I felt like it had enough kind of words on there with the strawberry garden, strawberries fresh juice. So if I have any sentiments left over from my strawberry, you know, projects, I'll put one inside or I'll stamp one inside later. And so that's kind of how that's going to go. But I really do kind of like how this came out. I think it's kind of messy, but also kind of fun at the same time. Okay, so the next card is another Slimline card. And basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of piecing together similar patterns on the top half and the same pattern on the bottom half. And then I'm going to create another scene here. But, you know, the scene is such that it kind of looks like a natural break. So you can't really tell too much that I used, you know, a bunch of straps because some of it gets really covered up nicely by the ephemera. And so I've got this giant strawberry house, which really reminds me of like strawberry shortcake. So I really, really love it. And I wanted to kind of use it. And so same technique that I did with the other card is I think I'm propping up everything on foam tape except for the tree. The tree I'm going to have be flat so it kind of looks like it's in the background, and then the rest of the images are going to be propped up with my Altenew foam tape. And so that one's flat, and I've got my little strawberry girl, and I think I am going to put a sentiment on here, and I kind of look through all my sentiments to kind of find one that I felt would work. And I know that I opted for the life is short, make it sweet, because I thought that was just a cute sentiment, and it fit really nicely in the spot that I had for it. Sometimes that's how I decide my sentiments, is how well they fit. Okay, so that one looks really good. I'm really, really happy with it. And so I think we're going to move on to, I think I'm still deciding on my sentiment. I think I wanted one that was a little bit, had less border around it. So I wanted one that was a little smaller. And propping that up on foam tape. Okay, so that card is complete. And this one might be my favorite one out of the three, even though the last one is a shaker, which I really, really like. Okay, so there it is, finished in all its glory, and you can't really tell that I pieced it together. So now I'm going to be using this die from Tailored Expressions. And so this one is going to be a mini Slimline card. So it's a little bit smaller. I think it's like 3.5 by 6. And so I actually used a regular sheet of paper for this because I needed it for the top. But for the backing behind my shaker bits, I did use a strip of scrap. And so I used a strip of scrap. And then what I did was I put my foam tape all around the windows. And then I'm using this really cute shaker bits from, I think it's Cat Scrappiness. really cute and fun. I can't remember the name. This might have been a free gift that I got. But this one's called Strawberry Shortcake Sprinkles. And I think I might have gotten it as a free gift from Not Too Shabby Shop. But it's got these really cute little strawberries and little white clay and pink bits. And so those are where they're going to go in the windows. And so now I'm peeling up all the tape. And so instead of working from the bottom up, I'm working from the top down. So my panel that you see there is not actually the card base. It's a white panel in which I glued that strip that's gonna go right through the window on top of there. And so that way I can press that down. That way I don't have to try to like guess where the windows are. It's just easier this way sometimes. And so now I'm going to put that whole thing eventually just on a Slimline card base. I still have some decorating left to do. I'm going to use some ephemera for the front, and I'm also going to use a sentiment. So I'm going to first put this on my card base. I am using some strong double-sided tape. I just find that that kind of sticks really nicely onto my card base. And so just peeling that off. And so I still have quite a bit of scrap left. I made a lot of strawberry projects, but I still have some scrap left. So I'm also in the middle of destashing and cleaning my room, and so it's a lot going on. But hopefully I will get to finish the strawberry projects and get them posted soon, so you can see all the rest of my scrap projects. So I put that down, and now I'm going to go digging around to find the perfect ephemera for the front of my card. And so I really wanted kind of 3 smaller ephemera images and then a smaller sentiment, because this is definitely a smaller card next to my regular sized Slimline. So I thought maybe a strawberry, but that kind of didn't work. I liked the flowers with the strawberry because I think that's a really nice corner piece. And I did like the vine. So, and a little, what do you call that? Little box of strawberries. I think it's called a crate. So I'm propping these up on foam because it, just for a little extra dimension. And now my sentiment. So my sentiment I cut out using my very favorite Stampin' Up! Punch ever, the Modern Label Punch. I've had that thing forever. I'm never getting rid of it. It's amazing. I love it. So many sentiments fit in there, and it just gives it a little extra detail, and I don't know. It's just my favorite. So I've had it forever, and I'm going to keep it probably forever. Even though I'm destashing a lot of stuff, I won't be destashing that. So, but there you go. And it shakes and it's beautiful, and I love how it came out. Thank you so much for watching. This is Cindy Crane.